So let's look at the third match of Women's T20 Challenge, where Trailblazers and Supernovas take on each other on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. IST. Remember, the tournament is not dead. That's not a dead rubber. You don't know which side is going to be playing the final because all three sides are still in the competition because of Velocity's loss today. Had Velocity won, they would have been one of the finalists. So keeping that in mind, let's look at the final league game. Trailblazers versus Supernovas. Remember, Supernovas have had a will have had a longer break, given that they played yesterday and the next match is on Saturday. So, coming to you, Gouher, will that be a case of kind of a tournament that India had in the T20 World Cup? They finished their league games. They had 4 or 5 days break ahead of the semi-finals, which eventually got washed off, and then the finals. And Supernovas, mind you, are in a similar stage. So is that an issue for Supernovas?
No, I think that they'll take it in a positive way because they're coming from a loss, and they've had 2 days to recover and discuss. The captain and the coach must have had their plans ready for the practice sessions and for the individual players. What to do in the next game, and they've had this extra time of going into the nets and rectifying. I won't say much of a time, but little time or 1 or 2 net sessions. To go in and rectify the mistakes and plan their batting lineup, or make 1 or 2 changes in their playing 11 to get a game or to get a win in the next, because Trailblazers is coming on with a huge win from today's game, so it's going to be a bit of a tough situation for Trailblazers to, I'm sorry, Supernovas to go in the second game and win it for them to, be in the contest for the final.
Gee, it's tough for these schedule makers, isn't it? You give back-to-back games for Velocity, and here we are discussing whether that's a rough deal. And you give Supernovas a longer break, and we are yet like, is that necessary? Is that good? Is that bad? But I mean, what do you think? Because Harmanpreet Kaur has experienced this long break. What happens in a long break in a big tournament like we again spoke about the World Cup final? So, is that some experience that you can take forward for this tournament?
I mean, I don't think they'll be too worried about it. I think because they've got quite a few senior players in the side. Shashikala herself, I'm sure Harman and Chamari will be happy, to have an extra day off to kind of allow their bodies to recover, and then of course hit the nets and probably work on a few things that they would want to, and also formulate tactics for the next game. I think we saw that it was the tactics towards the end of the game that hurt Supernovas, and that's possibly something that, having watched today, seen what Sophie Eccleston, Jhulan Goswami and all the others are doing, will probably help them formulate plans for their game against Trailblazers. And I don't think they'll be too worried about this break, because at the end of the day, this is it's not going to hurt the momentum because they lost. It's not something that's I think in the World Cup there was a case of India winning consistently. They had gotten into a bit of a rhythm, and then they had that break, and then there was the rain. So that is probably a halt in momentum. But here they're coming off a loss. They have a chance to recoup, probably figure out what they want to do going into the next game, and they are an experienced side. I think that's the difference between this Supernovas team and that Indian team. That this group of, they have a very good bowling lineup, a bunch of very experienced bowlers. So I think that's going to be the difference. That they just have to figure out what their plans are going to be for the next game, and I think they'll use this extra time for that.
Supernovas had left out Anuja Patil, Arundhati Reddy, Ayushi Soni and Muskan Malik out of the first match. Gouher, do you see any of these getting a game in the second match on Saturday?
Yes, I think they could try Anuja and Arundhati Reddy both in the next game, knowing that a couple of players have not actually done played out the ability. Maybe Pooja Vastrakar or someone it's harsh on those players, because of course they're coming back, and you can't judge them with just one performance on the first game that they could not do well. It's pretty harsh. Then you don't have too many games or too many matches, so to try out things. So I think Harman would probably think over it and get at least one change in her playing 11, and probably change her batting order, because she needs to, probably change her, get her middle order stronger, because they're up front, like Trailblazers, they're very strong with the top order, but she needs to get her a middle order stronger. I think Arundhati is a medium pace all rounder who can bat and who can hit those sixes, where she's shown that in the Challenger Trophy and India A, where she batted pretty well and got those runs, and she can clear the boundary. And Anuja can chip in with runs and those off spinners that drift away from right hand batters. So I think probably this could be the possibility in the next game if they want to change anyone in the 11.